Hey, Basket Brains, Kirby here, aka Darkling Disc, and I am alongside Ollie DePina. And welcome to episode 9 of the KO Disc Golf Show. This is episode 9, the Blastoise episode. Famous players to wear the number 9: Joe DiMaggio, Reggie Jackson, Teddy Ballgame, Ted Williams, and Ollie, you had one or two?
Drew Brees and Steve McNair from the NFL.
There we go. Ted Williams is easily my favorite number 9 player of all time. He lost 3 seasons serving at war, all at the ages of like 24 to 26, which for baseball is kind of your prime years. And he still went on to hit 521 home runs and had 2,654 hits. So in my mind, Ted Williams is the greatest baseball player of all time. And yeah, I'll argue about that for sure. If you want to shout out your greatest player of all time in the comment section.
Next episode also is going to be my favorite athlete of all time's numbers, so maybe you can take a guess of who that's going to be, but I'm very excited for that one.
Cool. Looking forward to it. Sponsor of this episode is going to be Emerald City Discs, or more specifically, everybody that comes into Emerald City Discs. Really appreciate each and every one of you coming in and supporting our little store down there. So thank you so much to all of you. We'll get right into the episode. Ollie, how was your week, man? How you doing?
It was good. I had a chill weekend, had the weekend off, and then had another tournament, which is starting off my June, which is kind of jam-packed with tournaments. I think I have 4 events for the month of June, which is super fun for me. Like, I'm looking forward to it, and the first one was Farmers Park Open. They had a 2 day, they had like a pro or a amateur day on Saturday and then a pro am day on Sunday with a couple of the am divisions with like MA1 and then MA40 was also there.
Okay.
And on Sunday, it was maybe like top five, top three most rain I've ever played in by like a lot.
Yeah,
It was
Sunday.
a wet round. Um, Really fun round. Shout out to a couple of the winners here, real quick. It For MPO we had Gregory Temple went to a playoff with Christian Leiberg. I've played with Christian before on a card. Um, Awesome guy. Tyler Schrock in third there, and then MP40 Bjorn Peeney,
Mm-hmm.
and then MA1 Houston Kratz. Also Houston Kratz is putting on the Yin Yang events.
Yeah.
Plays You go and play the course and then play it backwards or vice versa. But really cool idea. And another person that's running events, I think he has one upcoming this week at SeaTac with a few spots available if anyone's interested in that as well. I ended up getting third in that, which I was in last place and down by like 11 strokes after the first round. Kind of just I think I figured out something where I'm gonna go and play a full round before my round because my first rounds are usually kind of poor and kind of like underperforming, and so I think those are like warm up things I can figure out and kink out. And someone brought that up to me. They're like, because after the round, they're like, oh, you like, because I went from 11 strokes back from first place to only losing by, I was in third by 3 strokes only. And it
Wow.
really felt like I could have done a couple things differently even in that second round to really be there. But honestly, good learning point. I like that course a lot. Farmers Park is a really fun course, really well run event. Um, Not like it's a really like layered course, so having like the correct amount of people there is really important. So splitting the days up in two, I think, made the huge difference from the
Yeah.
first time the event was ran last year to this time. And yeah, last year it was sunny, so that was nice. But honestly, the vibes were amazing, and I it was really awesome. I also got to play with Brian Scott and he works at a Kayak Point, and I see him all the time, and so that was really awesome. And finally got to play around with him, and I know he said that's like kind of the story. He's like the guy always behind the counter at Kayak, and you always see him, but you're not really he doesn't get to play too much. So really
Mm-hmm.
awesome to play with him. And then Dan Good won MA 40, so shout out to him as well. But awesome event. Marty Smith put on a great event, and yeah, one of the events I did last year, and hopefully we'll be doing it at Farmers Park 3. And he said it's going to get bigger and better, and so
Cool. Yeah, good on him. Marty's definitely one of the good doers, good people of disc golf. So, yeah, appreciate him running that event, and awesome to hear that it went well despite kind of some rainy weather and whatnot. So, yeah, good. My week was also really good. I've been in Portland the whole week. I am home right now. I decided to come home while the weather was really cruddy. I didn't make the cut on Sunday, so and I saw that the weather was really bad for Sunday and Monday, so I decided to come home. Um, you know, peek behind the curtain. This is Monday night, so I will be heading out back to Portland really early tomorrow. I have two practice rounds at Milo scheduled. I'm going to do two rounds tomorrow, probably two rounds on Wednesday, and then probably one round on Thursday, and just kind of spend a lot of the day of Thursday kind of relaxing and kind of chilling. Portland Open for me though, all in all, it was a pretty like okay like performance. Like round one, I did really well, and I was really happy with the results of the round. I played my game, which at times was kind of just laying up. Like I think on hole one, throughout the weekend, I didn't watch a lot of people tee off, but I can probably tell you like there wasn't many people on hole one throwing a mid range off the tee.
Mm.
But I was because I kind of knew like last year on hole one, I took a 7 to start the tournament, and then I took a 5 the next day. So I walked with that hole of a +4. And I said this year, I'm like, hey, if I just walk away from with that hole at par, like I'm gonna feel really good about it. And I did that both days, like to a perfect tee, like exactly as I drew it up. And I did that for a lot of holes, where some holes like I wasn't necessarily playing for birdie. I was just gonna play for par because even getting the par was really challenging. So I definitely stuck to my game, and I did that really well, which was awesome. And then round two, I played with Paul Ulibarri, Matt Bell, and Chandler Kramer. I had a really great card, and I just like didn't show up. It was just not my best round. I will say, and I hate to kind of say like the lucky card, but I got a little unlucky on one of the holes. There's a double Mando, and I hit the tree behind the Mando on the right and ricocheted, and my disc was half over the Mando line, half in, and if any part of your disc touches like the restricted area of the Mando, it immediately like doesn't count. It counts as you missing the Mando, which really stinks. And So instead of having a drop zone on that tee, I just had to re-tee. So I ended up taking a 5 on that hole when we were kind of talking about it with the card, and I was like, frustrated. And I was like, man, that's like so stupid. And Paul's like, it's one of the dumbest rules we got. Like, he's like, your disc was technically like mostly inbounds. He goes, you should have been able to have like just like an upshot from there. Instead you having to like re-tee because there's no drop zone on this hole either. So, just a little unlucky. And, it was a bad shot, all in all, but it wasn't so bad that I should have taken a 5 necessarily. So, and then round three, I came out and just kind of played my game. Even Scott Withers, who I was playing with, was like, Kirby, we're in 90th place. Like, you don't have to lay up. But I was like, I kind of do, actually. Like, this is kind of just like my style of play, is to play like smart, conservative golf. Like, I'm not going to try shots that I'm not comfortable with. And I'd rather stay in the fairway and take my pars than try to go stupid aggressive and take some bogeys and maybe take a birdie here and there kind of thing. So
Mm-hmm.
I definitely lean more on the side of like safe golf and kind of more strategic play, especially in a place like Glendoveer, where a lot of the distances are so long that I don't have a lot of opportunities other than throwing like my absolute best shot a lot. So,
Yeah,
um,
I saw like I was following your weekend the entire time. Like you are, I say it a lot in my story, and I say it a lot. Like you're my favorite pro, and I really mean that. Like when I first got into it, I was watching you a lot and stuff like that. So watching your rounds, it was really cool to see. Like the only main difference I feel like between that second round, like if it looked like your putting percentages, like C1 putting was like all like really high. Like every round it stayed above C1X. It was all above 83%. Really awesome to see. The only thing difference with like the stats wise was like a couple of fairways like on the second day, but like how did that putting feel from like that last day of Cascade Challenge to this weekend? Do you feel like it was a similar putting feel to that on those days, or do you think the putting varied at all, or how do you feel with that?
yeah, I definitely, that's a like interesting observation because yeah, that last round of Cascade, I definitely felt different with my putt, and I carried that throughout the weekend, which is really good. I was talking to my caddy Toby Makloff. He's a good friend of mine. Do lessons and whatnot. He came down to caddy for me on Sunday, and I was chatting with him that my putt. I feel almost like I've been calling it like desperate putting Like I've been
Mm.
putting and I feel so desperate to make the putter into the basket that I feel like that has helped me. Like when I think to myself, like I'm so desperate to make this in, like I want this so bad. And when I kind of am feeling that, I feel like the putter's coming out of my hand like a little hotter and a little better. And
Yeah.
I've always had a pretty straight putt, but I've been just kind of missing left, missing right, missing low kind of thing a lot. So this is really I've been calling it kind of like desperation putting. And I feel like that's really kind of helped me make a lot more circle putts, especially like my C1 has felt, yeah, like really just incredible. And I don't feel like they're necessarily just like trickling in. I feel like I'm like hitting the pipe and I'm like really, you know what I mean? I'm like hitting the
Yeah.
pole like long and like the way I want to. So, um, yeah, my putting feels amazing right now. That's definitely like the biggest like click for me at the moment.
One more question with that. So you talked about like how you're putting you really direct putter. Does that ever come into your brain like as a pro and has someone that like is like an established player? Does that come into your like mind of like changing your putt at all or like how you putt at all? I know I've seen it a couple of times on tour where like people like I think Kayla Visca is like completely switched from like push to spin putting and different
Mhm.
like things like that. Do you and I've seen like different guys like Chandler Fry posted his Portland recap and it was a pretty big putt made where he's really lofty out to the right and drops in pretty drastically. So do you what kind of like do you ever think about switching your putting up? And like as a person that has putting woes and wants to do that, like I'm really confident in my putting. Sometimes I want to switch it up. Like what kind of runs through your brain when you're thinking about switching it up?
Yeah, I mean, if I guess like the biggest advice I could give to anybody when it comes to like maybe thinking about switching your putting up or anything like that is do that. That's for the off season. That's
Yeah.
for you putting in the reps when you're not like mid tournament season to do that kind of stuff. So I will in the off season at times like kind of go and like think about maybe moving my hand over to maybe try to be more efficient, or something. You know what I mean? Kind of something like that. But
Yeah.
I think more than anything, like you just need to be really comfortable like while you're putting. And if you're doing like a physical motion that you just can't seem to get in rhythm of and you can't seem to get really comfortable with, that's going to make the putt like more difficult and it's going to make it really hard for you to want to step up and hit those putts, really consistently and confidently, like you were saying. So there is a level of like, yes, you can kind of convince yourself or kind of like, snap yourself out of one thing and into a style of putting. But I think it just takes a lot of practice in the off season, especially. And I think it's really hard to do that when you're playing tournament week after week, or even maybe if you play like two tournaments a month or one tournament a month. I don't think giving yourself only like 2 weeks of this new thing is enough time. Because I think in that process, maybe you should go out and play like a league round where you put
Mm.
that to the test, where there's a little less pressure and you don't have 25 other guys in your division that you're kind of, oh crap, like any one of these guys can pop off this weekend. Like I need to be on kind of thing. You can go play a league round. You can work out some of those kinks and maybe you can find that rhythm and that routine that really kind of worked for you.
Hmm.
It's like I was telling you, like had I, had like not had my side injury, I would have went and played a couple of league rounds and I would have kind of like tried to work out some of the kinks that I was feeling. And instead I was just working those out like at the Cascade Challenge, just doing my best kind of thing. So,
Hmm.
but yeah, I feel like last week and then this week where I kind of felt like I was kind of catching up like to like what it is like playing on the pro tour and to like the style of play that all these guys have. I feel like I'm really, really ready for Beaver State Fling next week, and especially these last 2 days of kind of taking some time off and relaxing at home with the cats and the wife and whatnot. So yeah, I'm super excited to get out to Milo tomorrow morning and get out there and play. A couple of like last minute like Portland Open notes. Playing with Ulibari and Chandler Kramer and Matt Bell was really awesome. I will say Ulibari was a super cool dude. We talked a little bit about the Northpark crew, and that kind of thing. And I told him, I was like, hey man, like I was like, you're not going to remember this. I was like, but I was like, you used to go to like the North Park Mineral Springs like putting league. He goes, that I remember. I was like, yes.
No, he will.
I was like, what you don't remember is one time I beat you there. And he goes, really? And I was just like, yes. And I was just like, and I was like, I want to be very clear about this. I was like, it was only because like you had a knee injury and you also had like a couple soda pops that night. I was like, so like everybody was kind of like vibing, and like you were definitely like not at your 100% like at all whatsoever. And he kind of started laughing. He goes, "Yeah, I definitely remember that kind of thing. Like I would definitely do that for sure, you know." And he kind of wanted to say like he really appreciated the North Park crew. And he really loved that when he came here, he was feeling really down about himself with his knee injury and he wasn't in the best place. And the North Park guys all kind of just took him in and kind of just treated him like a person, not like this touring professional player or anything like that. And just how he really appreciated the area. So it was really cool to kind of like chat with him a little bit about that and, you know, kind of talk there. And Chandler Kramer was like such a goofball the whole day. He's a guy that I really liked. You know, a guy that didn't throw a single backhand other than like a jump putt kind of deal. But it was really cool to see. You know, he was forehanding baobabs all over the place, and I was like, damn, bro. And he had a beach that he was forehanding really well. So, yeah, overall, really good guys. And I want to give a quick shout out to my buddy Nick Duran, who I played with on Saturday. He was, I think, like the 2013 amateur world champion. And he's from like Arizona. He comes up here for a couple tournaments a year and he's just overall like all like just a really really nice guy. So quick shout out to him as well. So
That's awesome.
yeah,
Yeah, I love Uli. It's so cool. Like I'll message about how I did in a tournament or how I did this or how I watched his video, and he's like sometimes the first person to like open the group chat where it's like, oh, that's Paul Uli, and I'm like, oh, that's so cool. And like when he came by, it was like everyone was gonna be at the park because he was there, but everyone was just at the park because they were excited to see him. It wasn't like the vibe. He just came and did doubles and played with us, and it was
yeah.
really cool. But I really enjoy that.
I asked him, I was like, "Do you know Ali DePina?" He goes, "Yeah, I know Ali." And I was like, "Oh yeah," I was like, "That's my homie." I was like, "I do a show with him once a week." He goes, "What?" And I was like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." I was like walking off. I was like, "Yeah, yeah, we'll talk about it later." And then we didn't, you know, get back. But he was like, "Oh, all right, cool." You
I
know,
mean, when I first posted about this whole show going on, I swear he was the first person to be like, "Oh," and like open the message where I'm like, "That's pretty cool."
nice. I
But yeah,
love it.
him and me and Brad had a really good time. His caddy, Brad Emery, I
Yeah,
special
Brad was.
place in my heart.
Yeah, Brad's kind of a little goofball, and I love Brad for that. So he was really cool to have on the card the whole day. So also quick
That's
shout
awesome.
Joe Nybar, Disc Golf Jojo on Instagram. He came out and caddied for me on Thursday and Friday. And it was awesome. He was so excited, you know, just to kind of be chilling. And I hung out with him a little bit Friday night when him and his mom, well, he was playing the West Course. So his mom and I we got a golf cart and we just kind of followed along and watched him kind of throw. And um, Jojo, I made a deal with him, and I will uphold this deal through and through. That if he can somehow make it into Portland Open next year, I will not play, and I will caddy for him instead of caddying for me. So I told him, I was like, hey man, I was like, if you can do that, I was like, I 100% will come and caddy for you, and I won't play. I was like, but I'm gonna come and play this next year, and you'll be caddying for me, buddy. So
Why
uh,
don't what I feel like just in case the rare I just want to put a little clause in there, the Ollie clause. The rare like if he does, I want to see both of you competing, so I'll caddy for him instead of caddying
uh,
for you.
I don't know,
Be-
man. I promised him I would because he
That's
it's so full circle. I don't know.
you're still in your prime. You got to be playing. I'm sorry, Kirby.
That's,
Maybe in like a couple of years.
that's funny. We'll talk about it at the time. We'll see if it comes up. So I told him I
Well,
was like,
maybe then maybe I gotta join in and just gotta try to play good enough to
there
try
you
to get.
go. Go, yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, we got to get you in Cascade Challenge next year. That's the goal. So
Oh
but
yeah.
yeah, we're gonna go down the leaderboard real quick of Portland Open and kind of just talk. I want to kind of like shout out a bunch of like local players, and then obviously we're gonna talk about the winner real quick. So Gannon Burr kind of took it down. Kind of took it down. Gannon Burr took it down by what seemed like a lot. It seemed like he, you know, pretty much just had this tournament under his control, start to finish. He ended up winning by 8 strokes, which out there is pretty significant because it's hard to get, you know, 2, 3 strokes on a hole off of somebody when they're playing well. So, excuse me. Shout out to Cole Redolin getting second place. He is like an Oregon and a local guy. I've played with Cole for a long time now. A few years ago, him, myself, and Kyle Crabtree were all in a card together, and it was really interesting. Just kind of seeing the two of them play together. We were kind of like, oh yeah, Kyle's like the lethal putter, and Cole has this just like elite distance, and kind of watching the two of them kind of chalk up this the Stellicum course was pretty
Mm.
awesome. So that was really cool. Paul Ulibarri got 10th place. Seeing that is really cool. Honestly, like not Paul played amazing that second round, but he didn't necessarily do anything that I saw, and I thought to myself, "Wow, I can't do that."
Yeah.
So Paul getting a top 10 definitely is a little kind of like light at the end of my tunnel that says like, "Hey man, like you have the skills to do that. You just kind of got to put it together for a whole weekend." So cool seeing that. As we go down this list, like I said, Chandler Kramer, really nice guy, came in 31st. Daniel Paff, he came in 31st. He's from the Tri Cities. Another really great guy. He has like just an absolutely booming forehand. As we go further down here, Carter Aarons got 55th. Dallas Garber also tied for 55th. Colin Bryant got 61st. Chandler Fry getting 65th. Scott Withers 75th. I played with Scott that last round as well. I got 78th. Yeah, so I just want to kind of shout those guys out. And then also wanted to give a giant, massive congratulations to Sofia Danecki. I am so absolutely like so proud of her. Brian texted me on, I think that was Friday, and said, "Hey, Sophia just tied the course record." And my text back to him was like, "I got to tell you, man, I am legitimately not surprised at all whatsoever." I played with her last week, Monday and Tuesday, and she was like parking holes casually with her eagle, and she was just up there, just like throwing it, and just like it was. I was like, she's gonna do so good out here. It's so crazy. Like she even said, she's like, "Oh, cool. Now a place I could just go and throw my comfortable shot, like straight hyzers," and she just did that. And she has such good distance, and she's a great putter that it all just kind of came together. So I'm so just happy and like proud of her, for doing what she does, and she's such a good player. And her partner Brett is so supportive of her as well. That it's just amazing. I think what I saw is that she was the first Canadian ever to get a podium finish in a DGPT event. So yeah, just first Canadian ever and first Emerald City disc player ever to do that. So a couple of feathers she can stick in her cap. So
That's pretty sweet. Yeah, it's super awesome. I've been a fan of Sophia since she signed with ACD basically, and kind of like started knowing who she was. Saw her at the shop and been talking with her. You're doing the BC Open, correct?
mm-hmm.
Yep. I was
Yeah,
talking to her. I was like, we got to get a practice round in. I was like, I just want to play around with her now, like so
uh,
badly. So I
yeah,
was
that's one
talking to,
here.
yeah, so I was talking to her and I was like, yeah, me, you, and Kirby have to play around. She's like, definitely we'll find some time to do that. So she already said yes, so I'm chalking it down, so we're good.
Yeah, now we'll get it. And then yeah, also quick shout out to Paige Pierce for picking up the win.
On her
Uh,
birthday.
yeah, was it on her birthday? Oh,
Yeah, it's her
I didn't.
birthday. It was Big Germ's wife's birthday,
Mhm.
and her birthday, and it was it was a lot of birthdays, and it was pretty sweet. Calvin Heimberg's birthday.
No kidding.
Yeah,
I have the
there's a
same
lot.
birthday by Saki actually.
Ricky,
Yeah,
Ricky, Ricky.
yeah. So, um, yeah. All right, getting right into the Beaver State Fling preview. Like I was saying before, man, I'm just really excited to get down to Milo. I love Milo. It's a beautiful course, or it's a beautiful place. And I love the fact that they take the two courses and they make like a massive 18 out of it, because that 18 is the absolute best of Milo for the most part, I will say. So from what I noticed from the layout from last year, because I looked pretty extensively at the layout last year, the last few weeks, they have changed a few holes. A few of them I think are good changes. They got rid of, excuse me, they got rid of one of the more wide open and probably least entertaining par fours that was just really long and kind of had the basket like tucked in some trees back there. There really wasn't much challenge for it, and I think it played as the easiest hole the last few years. So they got rid of that hole, and they added in a couple of woods holes. So the one woods hole that they added in, I don't think I'm a big fan of that addition. It's like 198 feet. It's kind of like a little like putter shot that kind of weaves and bobs through the woods. I did talk with Jesse a little bit, the guy who's running the event, and He's the guy who also runs All Day Disc Golf, so I see him around at a ton of events. Super, super nice guy. If you get the chance and you're in Portland, go check out All Day Disc Golf for sure. But Jesse said that they actually like made a new tee pad on that hole because the hole would go this way, but the tee pad kind of faced the other way. So he's like, we finally decided to make a tee pad that faces the actual like the way the hole should play. Which is really funny because it's like less than 200 feet, so it's not like anybody really needs like
that much space. Yeah.
Like that kind of thing. So that hole got added in, and then they added in another like 330-foot woods hole that's really, really tight. That I'm definitely gonna have to. I'm gonna have to spend some like real time on that hole trying to find a line that I'm really comfortable with hitting, because when I kind of walked through it a few months ago, like when I was there, I actually walked down that hole and I thought to myself, oh man, I'm glad we're not playing this one. I don't know how I would attack it. And then in the caddy book, I saw that hole on there and I was like, son of a bitch, you got me, So it's gonna be fun though. Looking forward to that. And the other one of the other like big changes that I noticed, I don't know if this is a big change necessarily, but there's a signature hole at Beaver State Fling that everybody kind of knows of, where there's that little kind of creek in front of it. The basket's elevated. Behind it, there's like that Beaver State Fling like wooden sign, and there's kind of like the steps that kind of lead up to it. It's like a very, very like pretty hole. Everybody takes like pictures of that hole or of them like putting on that hole kind of thing. So in years past, that's played as a par four. This is actually going to be the FPO layout, where you would just kind of throw like a big hyzer kind of like up and around the corner, and then you would have kind of like maybe a mid-range or a putter, or if you didn't bend the corner enough, like a fairway driver kind of into the green. And I think that's another one that also played like really easy for like the MPO field. So they moved the tee pad. So instead of it being a par four, it's actually going to be a par three. It's going to be 450 feet, 455 feet long. And the creek in front of the basket is going to play as like an out of bounds area. So I think the guys with like elite distance are going to be just throwing drivers like into the hillside and hoping to kind of like go over the creek and kind of pitch into the hill. I don't know, at 455 feet, that's pretty far to kind of put the disc like that accurately, and you don't have any space to kind of skip up to it. So you're either 455 plus or you're out of bounds kind of thing. Because if you're anywhere from that like 425 to 450 area, you're in the out of bounds. So I might just be playing that one for par over the weekend. I might just like throw a fairway driver like up into the field and then throw a putter kind of at the basket and kind of chalk it up that way. So oh, excuse me. Those are kind of the initial like differences that I saw. Like I said, I'm excited to get out to the course tomorrow and get some practice rounds in and just kind of get comfortable with the course. There is a par five on the back that I think is like maybe one of my favorite holes I've ever played. It's super fun. There's an elevated tee shot. There's like an Opie River type thing in the middle, like a street river kind of thing. So yeah, just it's got all the cool stuff.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So really looking forward to, like I said, looking forward to getting out there. Moving right along, we're going to get into our MLB check-in. Ollie and I actually both are wearing jerseys today. My wife just got me this Red Sox jersey. Thank you to her. I got, we're not going to talk about who Ollie has on the back, but I got Timmy Wakefield on the back of mine.
I'll say it loud and proud. Kyle Lewis. I'm a big Kyle Lewis fan before he got traded. And it was okay. I thought he was gonna be in, and then we got some guy named Julio. And I don't, whatever.
Yeah, some bum. No, he's great. I know my wife, like we were talking about, I was telling her about like birthday gifts that I potentially want, and I was like, man, a Tim Wakefield jersey, because like I'm all about like the legacy players, and I was incredible.
Can't go wrong.
Yeah,
I was incredible. Can't go wrong.
So yeah, this is definitely my favorite jersey right now. I also have a Ted Williams jersey it's a road jersey that I like wearing to go to ball games. So
most of the time at games, I said this in the baseball draft, it's a shirt jersey. That's like my favorite thing ever. And it's more specifically, I always get the like international, like I would get a lot of Dominican Republican players. So like I had the Cano jersey, the Julio jersey. The Venezuela jersey goes hard, like blue. I love the jerseys.
Yeah, the Mexico jersey was really cool last year too. I really
so good.
Classic. I thought that was a sweet. New Jersey. But yeah, getting ready into our baseball check-in. The Red Sox are still exactly at 500. Um, I have not been watching a ton of baseball as I've been in Portland, just kind of focused really hard on disc golf. But they just split a series with the Tigers, and I will say this kid Willie Abreu, he's real. Like he is the real deal. He's amazing. He's really keeping our offense afloat right now when we have some of like our big guys like Trevor Story and Tristan Casas on the IL. He's up like stepping up and kind of making it happen. So that's about all that's really happening in Red Sox Nation over here. Ollie, you want to talk a little bit about the Mariners?
Yeah, the Mariners, we are doing well. 4.5 games up in the division. Just feels it feels like yeah, it feels kind of crazy. It just doesn't feel like anyone else is gonna be like. I know it's really early, but like it does feel like this could be the year that we do win the division. And I know even I like on social media you see like as a Rangers fan, as long as it's not the Astros, like even like and Astro fans don't want to see the Rangers, so even they're like whatever. If the Mariners get it through, it's like honestly good for them. So like
Yeah,
there's always that with that, and so being up in the division feels good, and like kind of growing that from like a couple games, 3 games to 4.5 games, and seeing where we can take this. And then yeah, 7-3 in the last 10, 2-3 against the Astros, and swept the Angels. So yeah, it just feels good. Feels
yeah,
good.
guys cruising along. That's great.
JP Crawford's playing great. Yeah, a lot of people are just playing better. Yeah, I'm playing good.
Good. Awesome to hear. Yeah, like I said, man, I always I'm gonna be a Red Sox fan through and through, but there's never anything wrong with rooting for the hometown team, especially when the Red Sox and Mariners have nothing in the same stakes together. So
Also, what I've learned is like people just kind of there's not a lot of people not like I haven't really met anyone that like hates the Mariners. Like there's
yeah,
not a lot of hate towards the Mariners.
it's okay, and I don't mean for this to be like terrible or mean, but like it's hard to hate a team that's like never in the playoffs.
No, that's
You know,
real.
you're just like not threatened by a team. You're like, whatever, I don't care about you guys.
No,
Like,
it's
no,
true though. Yeah, no, it's real.
yeah, like nobody's looking at the A's and being like, or like, I guess the A's are an easy team to kind of hate, but like, I don't know, like,
Bad example.
yeah, bad example right away. But I don't know, like the Nationals, like nobody's really like hating the Nationals, but at the same time, you're not threatened by the Nationals in any way, shape, or form. So yeah. All right, so moving right along, it's gonna be another kind of quicker episode, which I am down for. We're gonna do this week's draft. So truth be told, I just did not do the graphic for last week like I was supposed to. That is usually something that I have taken responsibility for. So I told Ollie that I would just go ahead and give him the E draft. So that's what we're doing today. We're doing the E draft, and I told him he would have the option for the number 1 pick. Totally on him if he wants it or not. But because I didn't do the graphic, I just kind of forfeited the draft. So comment under this video or go to the last video. Go to the last video and comment who you thought had the better draft. We're just gonna
There were some great sandwiches too. So maybe
there.
even I think it was an amazing draft. Honestly, one of the most interesting where it's like, oh, I'm feeling hungry in the sense
Yeah.
of like I got to go get a sandwich.
Yeah,
So
Lucas's draft pick of breakfast. I was like,
oh,
kind of missed out on breakfast sandwich, dude. Like, what are we doing,
that
man?
might have been the game winner. Like game winner.
Like, it was kind of a big like swaying option. I was really disappointed. I didn't think of that myself. So
Well, I think I'll take the first pick with this draft, with the E
okay,
draft, and I'm going with like a listener, a video like with something that both of us really love and enjoy. Sponsor of the episode, Emerald City Discs. I think it's the E word.
okay.
I don't know. I had to hit it. It might not be everyone's number one, but I think for this draft, the scenario, the situation, Emerald City Disc, I love it. My favorite disc shop, where I get all my discs.
That's
You know,
hilarious. Yeah, I own this store and I didn't have it on my list. I did. Whoops. Good. Yeah, good one.
I drafted you, Kirby, so
Yeah.
appreciate you.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, I didn't even. Yep, didn't even think of it. Now I feel silly. So, okay. I guess
Now, see, in this draft, I feel like is the first time I've had this feeling where you make me feel silly, and then Lucas makes me feel sillier about every week. But this is the first time maybe I've got you, so I'm happy.
yeah, no, I can. Also, again, another peek behind the curtain. We record these Monday nights. I send all these show notes like Monday like morning, right? And then we'll
Sunday night, maybe. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Sunday sometimes, yeah, but we'll like text about, stuff and we'll have stuff. But I come into these usually with like a really big list of stuff that I've thought for like a day and a half about, and I'll talk to like my wife about it, and I'll talk to like Brian about it, and I'll talk to people and be like, hey, like I'm doing this draft. What do you think? Like, what's your favorite sandwich, bro? And I'll kind of like build up and stuff, right? This draft, as we signed on, and I was like, shit, dude, I didn't do any E's. So everything, Ollie and I are on like even ground here. So, uh,
Yeah, as I'm a like a freestyle. I like to
yeah,
honestly because I just feel like I'm gonna get the best answer I can. Sometimes it's not, but
yeah.
sometimes I honestly feel happy with the polls I get sometimes, and it's not like it's all off the dome. Like I do take some time, 10 minutes before.
Yeah. No, I'm a big prepper. Like I'll prep like I'll be thinking about it like I'll like drive home and I'll be like E. What the hell starts with E?
Oh,
And
oh,
like I'll work.
I do think about that, but
Yeah.
yeah, I think about a lot of things, so it's hard. But my brain's forever. It's like moving on the dumbest things, I swear. But
Yeah. No,
E
that's
is
so
on there.
yeah, this was kind of a more difficult one too, because I feel like they're more ideas than they are like difficult things for me. Um so for the number two pick, all right, I'm gonna go with entertainment.
That's on my list, actually.
Yeah. I think it makes just like a lot of sense. You're on YouTube right now watching the show because you're looking for entertainment. I feel like all day, it's just kind of about finding some entertainment of this. We disc golf because it's entertaining, so that's entertainment as well. So yeah, entertainment, and then because I am a product of the '90s, I'm going to pick extreme. That was like a big part of like my childhood. Like I grew up in like the skateboard generation. Everything was trying to about like be extreme. Like you were trying to jump off of something. You were trying to do something extreme. Like my favorite wrestlers growing up were the Hardy Boys because Jeff Hardy was Team Extreme. So
Yeah, that's real. I love that.
yeah, extreme.
Extreme games, the X Games, I feel like falls under extreme. Like that's
Yeah,
all great things.
totally.
Kind of. I feel like really great about my list. I don't know. I think those last ones I cooked on were kind of great. My second pick and the fourth pick in the draft, I'm going with ESPN.
Oh, that's a really good one too.
I
Yeah,
when I thought of ESPN, I was like, that's so gas.
yeah,
Late night sports centers. I
yeah,
mean, any sporting event you're watching, it's ESPN. So
yeah. Morning when I was in high school, like in getting ready for school in the morning, I would throw Sports Center on in the morning, and it would just be that 1 hour clip that they would play for like 7 hours straight in the morning. But
yeah,
by the end of it, you kind of like know it by heart, kind of thing. Yeah,
you're going to do whatever your day and you're going through their list and talking about it. And like I would do the same thing. Like yeah, I'm going to sleep at like or I'm like just falling asleep. It's like 2 a.m. and like next thing I know, the whole day I'm talking about whatever they were playing that hour.
yeah, that's a good one.
My fifth pick or the fifth pick and my third pick, I'm gonna go with eBay. You know,
eBay. Okay.
yeah, eBay, commerce, buy, sell, bid. I feel like eBay was a little bit bigger, a little. I mean, it's still big, but like I feel like there was an era of eBay where it was huge. Like Craigslist came around, other things like that. But eBay. I think eBay. I was having trouble thinking of some E ones, so I think eBay was a good pull.
eBay's not bad. I mean, that's not on my list, but not bad. Um. All right. So for the number six pick of the E draft, I'm going to pick. Um. I'm gonna pick example. I think
Ooh, okay.
examples are like maybe the best way to explain anything that you're talking about. If you're having an argument with somebody, let me give you an example real quick, right? And then all of a sudden the situation seems like it's diffusing a little bit, So, examples, when I'm doing my coaching, disc golf coaching and that, a lot of it is, showing by example, by kind of showing the person like, hey man, if we get this here instead of down here, and we kind of move this along, and that kind of thing.
I like that.
Lead by example,
Yeah,
that's been like a big like phrase that you hear a lot is like, hey man, like be the leader, lead by example, be that guy kind of thing. So yeah, so my number six pick is example. And then for the number 7 pick, I'm gonna pick the word epic.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. That's
Yeah,
a good one.
I think my list now is officially pretty epic, which is cool.
I think
Uh,
we had two diverse lists. You had some like descriptors, and I had some like things in mind. I
yeah.
like it.
I don't know if anybody has seen. I'm sure a lot of people have seen Jesus Christ, but I'm sure everybody has seen How I Met Your Mother. He was all about everything being like epic and that kind of deal. So yeah, epic's my seventh or the seventh pick of the E draft here.
It feels pretty cool too, because I get to go through it before I give my last answer. I actually get to give some honorable mentions,
Yeah.
and it's where I kind of get to go through and pick what I'm going for. And I had entertainment on there. I had this was something in I love endorphins. You know,
Oh yeah.
that's like kind of like a big thing, was like one of my honorable mentions. I was gonna pick it, but I think I wasn't sure if it was like, because for me, I would always say, I'd be like, because my history teacher would be like, the runner's high, endorphins, and like different things like that. So it just like stuck with me, and like I go swimming a lot, and like or like any activity you're doing, and like it's just like the natural brain of releasing that kind of thing. So that was an honorable mention. Eagles, cool
Yeah.
bird. Eagles and disc golf are sick as Isaac Robinson's eagle, very cool. But I think I'm gonna go with my last pick is shout out to Roxanne. I have to shout her out every episode. I feel like her favorite animal is elephants, and so I'm
Okay.
gonna go with the elephant.
Yeah, that's a good one. That was on my list.
I like eagles, I like that, but Roxy's favorite animal is an elephant. She has a little like stuffed elephant, and I just think it's amazing. I love elephants. I think they're cool.
Yeah.
Um,
No, that's really good. Um, my honorable mentions. Well, my wife's name is Ellie, so I'm gonna say Ellie. I also had effective, elegant, example. Or I said example. Extract, eccentric. I think when you meet like an eccentric person, you're always like, I like that guy. He's really
yeah,
eccentric. You know.
yeah.
Ecstatic. Like when you're ecstatic about something, there's like no other better feeling than that.
Oh,
Enter, like when you enter like a new like you enter a like a, I don't know, man, like you just go into a room, then you're like, dude, I'm vibing with this place. You like enter a bar or something, and you're like, this place is great, like
yep,
enter one. And I think some endings can be beautiful, like this is the end of like a really good movie, you know what I mean? Yeah, like
yeah.
it hits hard. uh
Well, yeah, just chef's kiss. Like that's the
yeah,
perfect ending. Cherry on top. Yeah,
I
exactly.
love the way that movie ended. It kind of like really capped it for me, the ending.
My
um
last honorable mention is going to be eucalyptus, the smell.
Eucalyptus. That's a good one. Yeah. I also had Earth. I had Eager, and then eating out, like when you go out to eat. So
Oh yeah,
yeah, so that was
that
my
was good. I feel like I didn't have a lot of expectations for you, and I'm honestly that was awesome.
yeah. No, I think that's it's really fun. It's funny how we actually do have a completely polar opposite list. So yeah, love it.
Yeah,
Like we say every week, go to the community tab. I'm gonna actually make sure that I post this tomorrow. So yeah, go to the community tab and vote for who you think won the better E list. To kind of to give you the full list now, we have Ollie with Emerald City Discs, ESPN, eBay, and Elephants, and we have myself with Entertainment, Extreme, Example, and Epic. So
yeah,
yeah,
that was really fun.
that
Yeah,
was a
I really enjoyed that.
that was
I'm
kind of
looking forward to
yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing you at Beaver State Fling, and I'm wishing you good luck with your practice and good luck with all of that. I think it's going to be such an exciting event. I think even before Portland, you were like not trying to say you were overlooking Portland, but you were like, I'm excited for Portland, but I'm excited for Beaver State Fling.
Yeah,
So I
for
love to hear that, and I'm excited. I'm excited for you. And
sure. You.
to end the episode with a quote. No one came up with a substitution for hard work. Ted Williams. And yeah, thank you guys so much. Appreciate you guys, all the support. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate you. See